super premium, but we need to give people something which they can pay for. I mean, Peter, you're sitting on a raft of content over at Retana. What are your plans with that?
Well, yes, I mean, we're one of the few that actually owns most of our content, and you know, we've done some work, but very little in terms of exploiting that content in various ways, not only in the region but around the world, and so we'll be doing a lot more of that going forward. But it's very clear that people are willing to pay for content, okay? It's just a matter of how much. And you know, if you pay, if it's a very large premium price, well then the market will be reduced to those that can afford it. If you look at the record companies or the music business in you know, the international ones, for years and years, for 10 years, they resisted the downloading of their music or tried to fight it. And of course, all that was happening was people were just getting it illegally. As opposed to, okay, well, we're not getting the price we thought we would. Let's charge a lot less, but we'll get many millions to actually do it because people don't mind paying 50 cents or 99 cents to get content. And lo and behold, that's exactly what's happened, and the development of iTunes and the rest of it is showing that people are willing to pay as long as it's for a little price. But a little price coming from many people adds up to a lot of money. And I think the music business lost probably $10 to $15 billion spending money fighting it as opposed to going with it. This market has the opportunity to not do that and to actually go with the way consumer demand is and to offer something to people for a reasonable price. And you have different levels. You have the, you know, OSN pay TV, which is for very, very premium people. The market is smaller, but you know, a large percentage of a small market can be a big number too. Then you have the other side where you can offer wonderful quality content for a very cheap or a very low price, and you'll get many millions to buy it. As Mohammed illustrated, you know, even 10 cents from 50 million or 20 million or 15 million or whatever, that's still a lot of money. So,
what kind of content are we talking about here? Can we be specific? Can you give an example of something that might be considered the right kind of content for a pay TV platform?
Well, what do you mean? It depends on what pay TV.
Well, sorry, the kind of platform that, Mohammed, can you give us what in your mind is the right price point for this kind of thing as an entry level?
Really, the price point will vary. It really depends on. I have to leave it for the people who will do that best. But what I feel that what I could share with you, for example, is the experience of HD Plus, which is our sister company in Germany. Germany is just like the Middle East because it was free to air. And what HD Plus did was taking just 7 SD channels, upscaled them to HD. They were not native HD. They just upscaled to HD, and they were broadcasted on the same satellite, and people would just buy a receiver, and they would pay 50 euro the whole year. And in 18 months, they sold more than 2.5 million receivers.
Well, we have that kind of model through Abu Dhabi TV, don't we?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's very cheap. 50 euro a year for them is not, almost nothing. So if you come here and say 50 dirham a year, I think then you will go what Peter was saying is you're just like iTunes and it's easy. There are many tunes that one can find them on the internet, but you know what? I find it very easy. Just pay that 99 cents and I get it on my iPad and my iPhone and my computer, and I don't have to do anything about it, and I get the artwork for 99 cents. It's just much easier. What I'm saying is in TV, it will be, if the price is low, like I say, 50 dirham, then people will not worry, will not go to try to pirate it anymore because it's worth it. Probably will cost them the same to do that, especially when you add HD to it. Because pirated HD, people who want to watch HD, they want the good quality, like Nart was saying. So pirating HD is going to be also a little bit difficult and hassle if the cost is low. So my point is, if we're now at the point where the whole region is converting from SD to HD, I think it's a good opportunity if you can make the content, the HD content, in some low pay pay, then I think it's a good opportunity for broadcasting.
It sounds like there's a few, going back to the themes, I mean, greater investment in content, lower cost for the consumer. I mean, on that investment in content, I mean, when we talk about what's being done to generate more financial value from Arabic content, I mean, in the report that was the Arab Media Forum report last year, the biggest single issue that broadcasters cited with the industry was the lack of good quality local content. So again, that supports that. So it sounds like this idea of cooperation that you were talking about, Mohammed, to actually invest in locally relevant content, making it potentially available on more local areas or domestically relevant platforms, and maybe charging sort of smaller amounts. Could that, as a combination of things, help to improve the situation? Sounds like you guys got to work together quite a bit to do this, though.
I guess the key is low pay and some sort of unique content. These are the two key words.
What do you think, Dr. Riyad?
Okay. Well, maybe I want to introduce one more element to all of this discussion, and that is the right of the citizen or the viewer to view a minimum amount of content free of charge. And I think we cannot always put a price for anything that the viewer can watch. We should offer some of the content or the basic content, even with high quality, to most of the viewers free of charge. Now, one would say, who is going to pay for this? Now, there are different models. One of the models is what is traditionally known as the TV license, and this is something similar to what Mr. Muhammad is saying that happened in Japan, and it's happening in many parts of in Europe. In some other countries, this is funded by the state. So we can't say that broadcasting must always be for a price, whether it being like subscription or some other means. Some basic packages have to be protected and given to the citizen free of charge. Now, in terms of sports events, unfortunately, in our part of the world, the local events are not being protected by rules and regulations. Well, and then maybe your own team, your local team, your domestic team, he plays on your ground in your country, and you are not able to see that match because some channel outside of your country bought it and bought the right to it, and if you want to pay, you want to see it, you pay. Now this is, I think, not giving justice to the citizen, and this ought to be, somehow, treated and solved by introducing proper regulations to protect the citizen from that being happening. Now we don't want each one in every country in our region to be able to watch 64 matches of the World Cup or all the Olympics or something like that. But his local interest and what he is watching locally, we should not prevent him from watching this. And this can only be done by the proper regulations to protect this interest to the viewer.
I think to summarize this, Dr. Riyad, there's a term for exactly what you just said. It's called freemium. It's free for a basic package, and you pay premium for the premium package.
Yes, I agree with this package.
but Dr. I mean, Dr. Riyad, sorry, go ahead. It's true, but if you think about it, what are the number of dishes? 55, 60 million dishes, perhaps, in the region? Well, all of those people paid something to buy a dish and a decoder, okay? So it's really all a matter of marketing and packaging. If you can offer someone a dish and a decoder, and somewhere in that price is built in, something for a content owner, it's not extra, it's just part of it, and then effectively they're watching it for free, but it's already been paid for. It shows that this market is.
In our culture, if you ask somebody to pay 1,000 riyals or dirhams once, he would say yes, okay.
Right.
But if you ask him to pay it over a period of 1 year, he would say no. He doesn't like repetitive payment, but he doesn't mind paying one go.
Right. Well, that's the point.
But also, Dr. we can't get to a point where we can, this is not implementable, unfortunately, in this part of the world, because what we have is no regulation, as you say, but this freemium concept doesn't exist because we are paying the price now for not stepping in many years ago when the rights started going away from national broadcasters because nobody was able to go in and enforce and implement new regulations.
That's true.
We weren't able to do that. So now, it unfortunately, is not going to be possible to implement it because there are no rules and regulation that says when Saudi Arabia plays in the World Cup, the national broadcaster by law has the right to show that game. Yeah. And if whoever sold the rights and whoever has the ability to sell the rights doesn't play by the same rules, it's not going to be possible. So unfortunately, we put ourselves in this position after many years of not caring.
No, it's back to the comment I made earlier on. I mean, wouldn't a dish ban solve that in a heartbeat?
It's too late. Ban. It's too late.
It's impossible. It's out of the question. It's not going to happen. There are millions of dishes in countries that are already banned.
If you don't get it over the internet, if you don't get it over dishes, you can get it over the internet. So
you're digging a grave for yourself, Nick. Now.
This discussion, I think it's really going well. But Nick, we have 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, I think we should open up. I've been very greedily keeping the panel to myself, and I do apologise to everybody here. I hope it's been interesting for you. Can I get some questions from the floor, please?
Thank you. It's not a question, it's just a comment on what's been said. Even though I share most of the views here about the free-to-air and pay TV, but I want to go back in history and why do we have this model in the region? Why free-to-air? I think it started to bypass the local regulations and licensing issue. That's how it started. Government channels or state public broadcast didn't deliver. Private wanted to bypass getting license, getting approval. So once you adopt the pay concept, you need distribution. And once you get into distribution, you need licenses. And once you get there, it becomes complicated. It's a big circle. I don't know where to start and where to finish. But again, apart from getting the regulations and processes and legislation for media, I think it's going to be difficult to implement in this region. And if you go to localize it, then you lose the concept, the pan-Arab concept in that sense. So it's a big circle. I think it's all tied together. But it's a good idea, but we're far away from there. Thank you.
I think it very much stems to this idea of cooperation and transparency, which seem to have come up again and again. Any other questions?
Mr. Shehi and Dr. Riyad were talking about the idea of terrestrial channels at the local level and about refreshing these channels again. I would like to ask some questions about this. What chance of success you can see that this channel will be success? And which countries that channel will be applicable? As well, what kind of content you will believe that will let people watch and advertise on those terrestrial channels, comparing to that the diversity of content delivered by satellite and other platforms? Thank you.
Okay, well, very briefly, I think the chances of success of terrestrial television lies in if it is properly regulated so that it is not repetition of us on satellite. And a lot of content, when you want to buy content that can be viewed by 350 million, it is much more expensive than buying content that can only be viewed by 5 million or 10 million or 15 million. So the broadcaster, if he plays this right and he buys the premium content that is sought by the local audience and deliver it over terrestrial channels, then he would first satisfy the requirement and the need of the viewer, and at the same time he did this with reasonable cost. So if that happens, then it will have some success. But if we just keep repeating what's on the satellite, on the terrestrial, nobody will see terrestrial for obvious reason. Why would he do that? And then this will